Okay, so we know this happens as wrestling fans. We get it. Bare minimum, once a month. And tonight was one of those nights. Raw sucked. Raw was not good. Um, and this is coming off of last week where my favorite wrestler in the world, Kevin Owens, fantastic talent, is your Universal Champion and his first Raw as champion, and Raw sucked. Um, we're gonna go over it, but it was not a very good show for the first time, and I can't tell you how long I actually ended up turning it off the last hour, and I ended up doing something else with my time that I thought was more suitable and more fun and more entertaining than the garbage that was on my television. But anyway, let's get let's go through this. The opening segment, we start off Raw with, of course, new champion Kevin Owens, my boy, in the ring in a suit, which I thought was kind of weird at first, but it kind of grew on me to see Owens in a suit because normally he's in that wife beater shorts, kind of it's not a wife beater, it's a muscle shirt, whatever. But he looks like a prize fighter, and normally to see him in a suit, it was weird, but it kind of grew on me the more I saw it. Um, he comes out, typical heel fashion, saying how he doesn't need the fans chanting, the "you deserve it" chants and everything, and just typical Kevin Owens heel stuff. And Seth Rollins comes out as the good guy that many people have wanted him to be. He's now portraying the face character in this whole situation after being screwed over last week. He comes out, pretty much gets in Kevin's face, wants his title shot, and make a long story short, Mick Foley ends up giving it to him at the end of the segment. So there you go. Your main event for Clash of Champions is Rollins and Owens, which my fantasy booking for SummerSlam was Rollins and Owens instead of Balor, which in hindsight would have been a lot better because we would have still had Finn Balor right now. And on a Raw like tonight, which a whole lot of nothing went down, a Finn Balor would have done a whole lot of good. But that was your opening segment. The first match of the night was Charlotte and Bayley, and as soon as I saw them advertise this, my first thought was, why? Why? Like the whole women's situation on Raw, and the tag teams too. I'll go with them. SmackDown has done such a better job than Raw has with their tag teams and their women's. Like, here, you have Bayley versus Charlotte, and Bayley ends up winning the match. And it wasn't a very good match. It wasn't very entertaining. There was a lot of botched spots in it. But Bayley ends up going over at the end. And what does that do for Charlotte? Charlotte's your champion, and she loses to Bayley, who's done nothing at this point. Sure, what builds Bayley as a superstar, but Sasha Banks is still owed her rematch at Clash of Champions. Sasha comes back towards the end of Raw, teases her retirement because of her injuries, and says that she's still coming for that women's title. So Bayley, after being a superstar in NXT, comes to Monday Night Raw, defeats the women's champion, and isn't even going to get a title shot. Instead of giving us those horrible, atrocious squash matches with Nia Jax, the perfect role for someone like a Bayley, the ultimate underdog, could be someone to overcome a Nia Jax, that big, the big powerhouse in that women's division there. But I feel like WWE just throws matches together without any consequences of it. Look, those of you who are watching who don't maybe fully understand what I'm talking about, wrestling is a story. Wrestling is like a TV show that you have to watch every week to get the story. It's not real, as in, you know, oh, these people actually hate each other, this is going on. It's a story, and stories require logic. At least the good ones do. Name one movie that you've watched that was good, that didn't have good sound logic, a good start, middle, end. It's common sense. And just to me, sometimes the WWE just doesn't do a good job of doing that. But it is just the women, not as important as the main event. Uh, Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas is alive. I haven't seen him since the draft. I know some of my friends who are probably watching this video, they just love Bo Dallas, love him to death. You know who you are. When you watch this, you'll know who you are. He goes up against some local talent, some local jobber. I don't even remember the guy's name. Beats him in like a minute. Um, Whatever. You know, that guy, again, I go back to NXT. If you've watched NXT and the work that he did down there, he was, you know, very good, put on very good matches, very quality stuff he had going down there. Him and Neville put on a heck of a program down there in NXT, but he just kind of gets to the main roster and just kind of whatever. Chris Jericho and Seth Rollins, I thought this was an alright match. I did miss a little part of it. I stepped out of the room for a minute. But from what I saw, it was alright. Nothing too wonderful, nothing too bad either. It was okay. Rollins ends up winning with the pedigree, which I was kind of wondering if he was still going to use the pedigree move. Maybe he was going to bring out a new finisher, because I know, you know, they banned the curb stomp. But Seth's still doing the pedigree. Doesn't do it quite as good as Triple H, but you know, it's good to keep a very prestigious move like that alive still. Very, you know, very good match. Jericho did what he is supposed to do, what he should have done with Neville last week. Putting people over, putting talents over. He is that veteran presence who is there to enhance the up-and-coming generation of wrestlers, the up-and-coming talents, make people look better, etc., etc. Cesaro and Sheamus. Match number 3. I had a feeling that this was going to happen in this storyline. Sheamus wins the match, ends up going up 3-0 in the series. The whole time during the match, you know, they're selling the Cesaro back injury. He had his back all taped up. And Sheamus was just, you know, the Irish curse backbreaker he does over and over again, and that high cross he does where he holds the person up and he just dropped Cesaro right on his knee. It looked deadly. It looked like he could have killed him. It was one of those things where, you know, it's like, holy crap, you know. Not a wonderful match, not a bad match either. If you saw their match at SummerSlam, it's definitely been the best one of the series so far. But I hope, you know, I like Sheamus, but I really hope that we don't see a clean sweep here, because Cesaro just doesn't deserve that. I'd love to see Cesaro as the ultimate underdog type, where he comes back from the down 3-0 and he ends up winning the whole thing, because if anybody, especially with the Finn Balor injury, there's anyone on that roster that the fans are just dying to get behind and dying to see pushed, it's 100% Cesaro. The guy has all the talent in the world, and I'm hoping that he comes back and wins the series, but it is the WWE. I would not be shocked if Sheamus ends up winning this series, but we'll see. Just have to wait and see. Enzo and Cass with the Shining Stars. Again, for the life of me, I can't understand why Enzo and Cass are not in the tag team title picture. I don't get it at all. It doesn't make any sense to me. They are... Kansas City tonight was so dead from Monday Night Raw. They did not care about anything that happened until Enzo and Cass's music hit. and everyone went crazy. That's the one part of Raw tonight people cared about. And they came out and they jobbed out to the Shining Stars. I don't know. I don't know. I understand you're supposed to build new talent, but holy crap! I was talking about the bottom of the barrel. That doesn't make sense to me at all. I I I don't understand why Enzo and Cass are doing this and not in the tag team titles. I understand Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson have a very well respected career in New Japan. I understand that coming over to WWE from Japan, they're very well respected guys, but their whole gimmick is atrocious. I mean, I've been watching wrestling for about a decade, and I can honestly say that was bare minimum top three, maybe even the worst of all time, worst segments I've ever seen on a Raw. Like with them in the New Day. If I was watching Raw with my friends tonight, I would be utterly embarrassed to the fact that I watched wrestling when that segment came on. It was atrocious. I mean, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, you're lucky. And if you do know what I'm talking about, you agree with me because it was horrible. Just the crowd just did not care. The crowd probably wanted their money back for wasting their time with this garbage. But 3 hour show, time killer, and sometimes the time fillers, you get crap like this. But I mean, not a whole lot went on with this Raw. I mean, like I mentioned earlier, and I've never done this in all the years I've watched wrestling. I stopped at 10 o'clock. I turned it off, and I did something else with my time because I was done. I was done. Uh, Even the main event had me mad when I knew what it was. Why are Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn fighting in a main event of Raw when we got it pushed down our throats during the draft? It was the last time they were ever going to fight, right? Owens and Zayn. People call them the modern day Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Last time we're going to see them fight. And here they are fighting on Monday Night Raw in the main event on a Raw where nobody cares. It's been incredibly boring. Now, the match was fine. I mean, it wasn't nearly as good as their pay-per-view matches, which was probably match of the year. But the match was fine. It ends with Owens hitting the pop-up powerbomb for the pin count. But I mean, I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Sami Zayn. I mean, Owens and Zayn. If Owens is the champion, the time to have them fight is have Sami Zayn be that Daniel Bryan type babyface, that underdog that just gets beat down, but just keeps fighting through it and goes through all the other men on the roster, and then eventually gets to Kevin Owens on a pay-per-view that means something like a WrestleMania or something big, and then you have that big payoff win. You have that big payoff match with Owens and Zayn. Because if you have it on Raw every other week, who cares? It's nothing special. You watch your favorite TV show. They say the same joke every episode. Yeah, it's funny the first time. Yeah, it's fun. It's still funny the second time, and by the third, fourth, fifth, sixth episode, you don't care. You're done with it. You don't want to watch it, and that's the same thing with this. So, I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, this video is not very long, but like I said, I didn't even watch the last hour overall because oh, how could I forget? Roman Reigns came out after Owens had won the main event. Roman Reigns comes out to a chorus of boos, and I mean like just booed, got the crap booed out of him. And Mick Foley comes out and says, "Hey, you're gonna fight Kevin Owens next week, and if you beat him, then you're in the main event at the pay-per-view. It's a triple threat match." So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens next week, but who knows how long this punishment on Roman Reigns is going to last? Who knows? It might only be a matter of time before Roman's right on the pedestal again, which like I believe I stated in my last video, Roman Reigns is a good wrestler. Yeah, for real. He really is. I mean, the guy can legitimately wrestle. And if you don't believe me, watch everything he's done since he won the title at WrestleMania 32. I mean, his matches with AJ Styles were fantastic. His match with Seth Rollins at Money in the Bank was fantastic. I mean, and even last week in the Fatal 4-Way, I mean, there's nothing you can complain about him in the ring, except the Superman Punch. The Superman Punch is garbage. I'll give you that. But the man can't talk on the mic. The man has no connection with the crowd. The man, I don't know if the WWE is so dead set on having him as their next John Cena, I don't know what they could ever do to repair the damage that's been done to him, because he just might be that guy that's forever hated. But and the ring, no complaints. Everything else, he's bad. He's bad, and it might only be a matter of time before they take the leash off him and he runs rampant all over the WWE, and then I don't want to watch. But we'll see. Again, I apologize. I did not get my SmackDown review out last week. I've had a little bit of a busy week, kind of a lot going on. Kind of lost track of time, but I would definitely have my SmackDown review out tomorrow. My first one for this channel. So yeah, we'll see what's going on with that, with the tag team tournament that's going on over there, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with Bray Wyatt, who is my favorite on SmackDown, him and Randy Orton, and 1 week closer to hopefully AJ Styles become the WWE champion. Alright, so yeah, that's about it. This is Raw review number 2 for this channel. Please, like, subscribe, all that, basic YouTuber plug stuff. I mean, I'd like to see this channel grow. Would be pretty cool, My original intent for this channel was kind of a place where wrestling fans could talk with me and I could talk with you guys, share some opinions, so leave a comment below, share this video, even if you just want to make fun of me. I don't care, make fun of me, just get this out somehow. I'd appreciate it. Alright, first SmackDown review will be up tomorrow.